Hello everybody, my name is Neil Bakiev and I'm your IELTS instructor today. My official website is ieltswill.com and I can provide you with speaking and writing correction services. Our today's class is an advanced vocabulary class and our topic is student loan debt. Today I will teach you advanced vocabulary and complex grammar, which you can use both for your writing and speaking sections. So let's read and analyze several sentences here so that you will understand how to use complex words and how to impress your IELTS examiner. Okay, number one. Student loan debt is a highly controversial issue as politicians debate the possible ramifications of incurring such debt. Okay, so here is my explanation. So student loan means a sum of money that you borrow. So the idea is if you can't study at university because your tuition fee is extremely high, then you go to the bank and you borrow some money. So the money that you borrow is called a student loan. Okay. Next, debt in this case means a sum of money that you owe someone. The idea is you must return a certain amount of money to the bank. So for example, if you take out 10,000 American dollars, then you must return $10,000. So and this amount of money is called debt. Next is a highly controversial. Highly here means very or really. Controversial means the subject of intense public argument. Okay, so a topic that doesn't have only one opinion, it has contrasting opinions. While some people think that something is good, others believe that something is bad. Okay, next, issue means topic. Next, as politicians debate. Debate here means discuss, analyze. The possible ramifications. Ramifications here means consequences and effects. Okay, and the last one is incurring. Okay, so incurring here means bringing into your life something that causes or provokes, in this case, such debt. Okay, so I hope that you have been able to understand all the words here, and then if you look at the colors, you can understand the definition of each word highlighted here. Let's move on. All right, let's move on. The rising costs of college compel most students to take out student loans. Okay, so remember, we need to use the word only rising. You can't say raising, okay, only rising. Next, here, pay attention to this word costs, okay? So we should use it in a plural form because we're talking about different kinds of costs, such as accommodation cost, tuition fees, and so forth, okay? So costs. Next, of college, compel. So in this case, compel means force, make, which means that they don't want to, but they have to, they need to. Okay, so compel. To take out student loans. So to take out basically means borrow. Okay, so some students write take student loans. Remember, you should take out student loans. So make sure to use the preposition out here. Okay, let's move on. Number 3. The vast majority of borrowers are unaware of the potentially crippling amounts of debt they get into. Okay, so the vast majority of means around 90% of students. Okay, you can also say the overwhelming majority of. So let me just write one more word here for you. The overwhelming majority of, which basically means most students. But if you want to impress the IELTS examiner, use this phrase, the vast majority of, or the overwhelming majority of. Next, borrows means those who borrow money. So if you borrow money from the bank, you are a borrower. Next, are unaware of, which means that they don't realize, they don't fully understand that something is happening. Next, the potentially crippling amounts. Potentially here means possible. Okay, next, crippling amounts, and pay close attention to the plural form, so amounts. Okay, because so here we're talking about much financial pressure, much financial burden. Okay, something which is really difficult to pay off. All right, let's move on. Number 4. Some students might have already paid off 80% of their student loan. The remaining 20% is their outstanding amount, which should be paid. So here, I'm using this complex grammar, might already have paid off. Okay, so we're using the structure might have plus past participle, pay, paid, paid, verb 3. Okay, so when we are not really sure whether they paid or not, so the situation is 50-50%, and that's why might have paid off. You use this grammar when you're referring to the past event, something which happened in the past. Okay, next, the remaining. We know what kind of 20% we're talking about, and therefore you should write and you should say only the remaining is their outstanding amount. In this case, outstanding means the money that has not yet been paid and is still owed to someone. So they basically means that they should continue paying off. Okay, it's not the end of the story. So they have their outstanding amount, the rest, the remaining portion. All right, let's move on. Number 5. By writing off student loans, the government waives their debt. This forgiveness enables graduates to lead a life debt-free. Okay. Now, by writing off, okay, that basically means that they accept that they are never going to get the money back. Write off means saying, okay, that's it. You don't owe me any money. You are debt-free. Okay, don't pay any amount of money to me back. Okay, that's it. So by writing off. All right. Next, waives here means forgive. To say, okay, that's it. You don't owe any money to me. Okay, goodbye. So you waive. Next, enables here means allow. Next, to lead a life debt-free means to enjoy life without any debt. So free, so a smoke-free area. This is the area where people are not supposed to smoke. Okay, so in this case, free means without, sugar-free, which means without sugar. Okay, let's move on. Number 6. Although a significant number of graduates may have received their first jobs, they have difficulty paying off their student loans as college costs outpace spare income. Okay, a significant number of means a lot of, many. Okay, so try to use this construction. A significant number of. So if you're talking about a countable noun, something that you can count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you use a significant number of. But if you are talking about an uncountable noun, something that you can't count, such as water, sugar, time, then you use a significant amount of time or sugar or whatever. Next, may have received. Again, we're talking about the 50-50% situation. So they received or not received, we're not really sure. So we're trying to guess, and therefore may have received. Next, they have difficulty paying off. In this case, paying off means paying back. Okay. Next, their student loans as college costs outpace spare income. In this case, outpace means perform a particular action faster or better. Okay, so the idea is the amount of money that they owe is significantly higher than the amount of money that they have after paying or after covering all their weekly bills, for example. Okay, so in this case, spare income means additional money after covering all necessary bills. So after paying your electricity bills, okay, your petrol bills, your grocery bills, you've got extra money. So you can travel with this amount of money, you can buy a car. So we're talking about spare income, okay, which means additional. All right, after spending all your money on your necessary weekly bills. All right, let's move on. Number 7, some parents are generous and wealthy enough to relieve the financial pressure on their children by helping them to pay off the student loans. Okay, so in this case, generous means ready to share with others. So if you have 2 apples and if you want to give 1 apple to your friend, you are generous. Okay, next. Wealthy here means rich. Next, to relieve the financial pressure on. So in this case, to relieve means make something less unpleasant, or to make something less painful. Okay, so for example, a doctor can relieve your pain by giving you a painkiller. Okay, so relieve, so to reduce the amount of pain. The whole expression to relieve the financial pressure on their children basically means parents are ready to pay for their children themselves. Say, okay, you know what? I've got money. I'm going to pay off your debt by myself. Okay? So they relieve the financial pressure on their children. So that's the expression. All right, let's move on. Number 8. Bill has won $1 million in the lottery, the money of which he is going to use to discharge his student loan. In this case, the money of which. Okay, so that basically means and this money. So you're referring back to the previous statement. We know that Bill has won $1 million, so we're talking about money. So this money, so the money of which, which means of this win. Okay, he's going to use to discharge. To discharge here means to go and pay off all his debt. So he pays off, and now he doesn't have any debt anymore. All right, next, number 9. As Jim was overseas, his student loan repayments were in default, as the government was unable to have access to his income, the amount of which would have been spent to cover his debt. Okay, in this case, as means because. So because Jim was overseas. Next, in default here means having missed a payment that is due. In default means that the bank couldn't access the money that he had. Okay, there was no way to get his money. So in default, which means it was not active. Okay, next, was unable to basically means could not. So able to means can, unable to means you couldn't do something. All right, next, the money of which would have been spent to. Okay, I'm using the third conditional here. The formula is if had verb 3, which means past participle, okay, and then would have verb 3. So the idea is if he had been in his country, the bank would have been able to use his money. Okay, but he was not in the country, and the bank was not able to access his money. So I'm using the third conditional here again to impress the IELTS examiner. Let's move on. Number 10. By not being able to fully utilize graduates' income because of student debt, such individuals remain financially infants. This is because they are unable to achieve the milestones as most adults do, such as buying a house and getting married and saving money for retirement. Okay, let me just remove and here quickly. So because we have A, B, and C. Okay, so like, all right. All right, now we'll just analyze the sentence. So by not being able to, that basically means because they can't. Okay, so the structure is by not plus ing. So be able to basically means can. By not being able to fully utilize. Utilize means use. Next, financially, here, remain financially infants. Remain here means stay. Okay, financially infants means financially unstable, financially insecure. So the idea is, the word infant means a child, but if you buy a house, if you get married, if you settle down, you become an adult. But because of your debt, you can't pay off you can't cover your debt, and therefore you can't buy a house, you can't get married. You are financially infant. You are still kind of like a child in your child time frame. Even though you're an adult, you can't do what other adults do. So this is the idea. So that's the phrase financially, to be financially infant. Okay, next, are unable to here means can't. Next, achieve the milestones. It's a very good phrase that basically means achieve significant events in life. Okay, and here I explain what I mean. So you buy a house, you get married, you save money for retirement. Okay, so all of these events are called milestones, and pay close attention to the definite article of the milestones. And the word retirement here means becoming old and not working anymore. So you're not able to work anymore because of your age, and the government helps you financially. Okay, so we're talking about retirement or retirement age. All right, let's move on. Number 11. Technically speaking, student loans should be waived in the same manner in which credit card and gambling debts are. Okay, technically speaking means speaking while considering every detail and being exact. Okay, so if you want to talk about something precisely, exactly, okay, you should say technically speaking. All right, let me give you an example. So for example, if you wake up at 7:04, right? So you can just say, well, I woke up at 7 o'clock. But technically speaking, I woke up at 7:04. So in this case, technically speaking means to be precise, I woke up at, and then you indicate the exact time. All right. Okay, let's move on. In this case, waive means forgive. Next, in the same manner in which means in the same way as. Next, gambling. The word gambling here means the act or activity of betting money, for example, in car games or on horse racing. So the idea is you go to the casino, you have a lot of money on you, and then you bet a lot of money because you hope that you will win more money. Okay, so you gamble. Now let's move on. Okay, number 12. Some parents are entirely against their children's taking out long-term loans, as they might be saddled with six-figure debt for an extended period of time. So now here I want to focus on the word saddled with. Saddled with. So to be saddled with means encumbered or burdened or be responsible for. So the idea is you don't want to, but you have to pay a large amount of money. Okay, next, six-figure here basically means a six-figure number, right? So millions of dollars or a lot of money. Next, for an extended period of time means for a long time, for several decades, for 20 years, for 30 years, for an extended period of time. So use the structure instead of writing just for a long time. Okay, let's move on. Some graduates abuse the loan system by hoping that the government will waive their loans altogether. In this case, abuse means use something in the wrong way or for a bad purpose. So they know that they can use the system and they know that the government will waive their loans. So they deliberately, they consciously use the system to their advantage. Okay? So they take a full advantage of the system, so they abuse it. Next, by hoping that means and they hope that. But even you want to use more complex grammar, and therefore you just use by plus ing, by hoping that the government will waive their loans. Again, waive means forgive. Altogether means completely, entirely. Okay, let's move on. Number 14, students with high degrees or advanced degrees tend to take out long-term student loans. In this case, high degrees or advanced degrees basically means that when you take a master's degree or a PhD degree, okay? Next, tend to means usually, normally. That's what they normally do. Okay, next, take out. I've already explained it to you, so that means borrow. All right, let's move on. Number 15, providing students with free academic books would largely be a hand up to them. Okay, in this case, largely means mainly or significantly. And then a hand up to means help, support. So the idea is, let's say you are going to the mountains, right? You have already reached the top of the mountain, and you want to give your hand to those who are climbing up to reach the same position where you are. So you're giving your hand up to them. You want to support them. You want to help them. All right, let's move on. Number 16. Those students who take out loans have the potential to get high-paying jobs and become the better off. Okay, in this case, have the potential to means have the opportunity, have the chance to. The expression become the better off means become members of the top echelon of society, which means to become rich and successful, or to be far richer and more successful than other ordinary people. All right, I hope you have enjoyed this lesson. I hope you've learned a lot of new advanced vocabulary words that you can use for your both writing and speaking sections of the IELTS examination. Thank you very much for watching and analyzing this video lesson with me.